Good morning, my beautiful souls. I hope everyone is having a blessed day, night, evening, wherever you may be as you listen to this. I just really hope that God is doing something miraculous in your life. And even if you're in a waiting season like myself, that He still continues to strengthen you and give you perseverance to do what it is that He needs you to do during this waiting season. But I wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about the favor of God, share a testimonial story about myself, about how good His favor is. A lot of times, a lot of us don't even realize that God's favor is over us. Um, there are things that happens in our lives and it gets you to think like, how did I make it through that? How did I get over that? And it's nothing but God's favor, His grace and mercy that He gives us each and every day. His grace and mercies are new every day. But we just have to take time to look and see and acknowledge the fact that it was nothing but God's grace and mercy that covered us through our trials, our tribulations, our ups and our downs, making it to and from work, dealing with, households, families, children, jobs. It's nothing but God's grace and mercy that covers us each day because I'm sure a lot of us, whenever we may get frustrated or stressed out, that we may say or do some things, but God has a way of keeping our mouths closed, controlling our tongues, changing our mindsets, our actions to be of Him. And so that's just, His grace and mercy every day. But for me, my story of there's many times God has shown His grace and mercy over my life. His favor has been shown every day. But this story in particular is something that I'm just in complete awe over how great God is and how, He answers prayers. He's there for us. He's there with us every day. He'll never leave us nor forsake us. All we have to do is continue to trust and believe in His word and who He is and what He can do in our lives. But for me, this is just one of many stories, but this story is a very recent story. Last week, um, on Monday, I was driving my car and I go to the gym a lot, trying to get, my body together and, as some of us do. So Monday night is one of the nights I go to the gym. So I was coming home Monday night, and as I was turning into my house, my car was making this weird noise, like a loud, like I call it like a little clickety clank noise. I don't know anything about automobiles, so I just know I drive them and call them a day. I ask other people like, "Hey, what does this mean?" Right? Um, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take it to the mechanic, at the end of the week and everything like that to get it tested to make sure that there's nothing wrong with it, that there's no alignment that needs to get done or anything of that nature, right? So I was like, okay. And Tuesday mornings, I also go work out at 6 o'clock in the mornings on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. So Tuesday morning, I go to the gym. As I'm turning into the gym parking spot, I hear the noise again. So again, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go take it to the shop. That's my intention, right? I'm like, but we just got to hold out until the end of the week, right? And so Tuesday morning after I got done working, I'll come back home. Again, as I'm turning, it's making like a louder noise. And so it's nothing but God. I know it wasn't me because I'm still like, okay, we're going to wait till the end of the week. But, God put something in your spirit and was like, I told myself that when I got to work, I was going to talk, excuse me, I was going to talk to my supervisors, my chain of command, and say, hey, I need to leave work early to take my car to the mechanic because it's making this noise, right? So still not knowing what this noise is, what the problem is. So I drive to work. From my house to my job is about 30 minutes, right? Gotta get on the freeway, all this good stuff. In certain spots I have to turn. So as I was turning at one of the lights, it made this loud noise. And I'm like, okay, definitely gotta get to the mechanics today because I don't know what this is. Because this is a consistent noise now, right? So I get to work, let my chain command know like, hey, I gotta leave work early, take my car to the mechanic because it's making this loud noise. I know what this noise is. I explain to them what I feel that the noise is making, right? And of course, guys, they're like, this is what it may be, this and that. So I was like, okay, is it safe for me to drive, from here to my mechanic, which is about 20 minutes away from my job? And I was like, yeah, it's safe, but in their mind, they're thinking it's one thing, right? So they're like, yeah, it's just, you just got to deal. And my car is also shaking, right? Like, you just got to deal with the shaking, but you'll be fine to make it to the mechanic. So I called my mechanic and was like, hey, can I come in today, later on that afternoon? And I was telling them what I think, not the symptoms, what was happening with my car, the sounds, the shaking, and stuff of that nature. And so it's like, yeah, bring it in and everything like that. So I leave work early. And as I was driving out of the parking lot at my job and I had to make a right turn, it made the loudest noise. And it was three people that was outside. It's like they turned and looked. And I was like, it must be that loud if three people, quite a distance away from where I was at, heard this noise. And I'm like, okay, something is really wrong. So I prayed to God, I was like, God, please just let me make it safely to the mechanic. That's all I ask because I don't know what the problem is with my car. I drove very carefully to my mechanic. Again, it's like a 20-minute drive, but it may have been a little longer because of the slow drive that I was doing because I didn't know what the problem was, right? So I got to the light where I was like about 2 minutes away from my mechanic. And at the stoplight, there was a white butterfly that flew by. And the significance of the white butterfly or the butterfly in general is a long time ago, I prayed to God and I was like, God, for confirmation that you are here with me or that I'm in your presence or that you want me to do something or go somewhere, let that confirmation be in the form of a butterfly, right? So the significance of that butterfly to me was God is with me. God is right here with me. He's covering me. I don't have to worry about it. So I did a little smile and I was like, thank you, God, for being here with me. You are covering me, and then I made a turn, a left turn, and it made the little noise again, right? It wasn't little, it was loud. Made that noise again. And, as soon as I got to my mechanic, right, and I turned into the parking spot where the mechanic shop is, and I'm getting ready to turn into the parking spot, it makes the loudest noise. And my car, like, literally felt like it was dragging the ground. And, like, I immediately stopped, put my little emergency brakes on because I felt like the car was moving backwards, but really it wasn't moving at all. But in my mind, I felt like I was going backwards. So I went inside, told the mechanic, like, this is what's happening. I was like, did you hear my car? Did you hear me pulling up with the loudness? And I don't know what's happening. So he came outside, got in the car, and as he was backing it out, bolts from underneath my car was starting to come out. And my car completely stopped. It would not move anymore. He's like, your car not going to move any farther than right here because he was trying to back it out. And he was like, you have a broken axle, right? And he was like, I am very surprised that you made it all the way here with this broken axle, clearly showing me the axle that was completely broken. I'm seeing all the bolts on the ground from it. And he was like, you are very lucky. I was like, it's nothing but God because I was praying this whole time. And I was like, I know God was with me. He was covering me for the 2 days. Unknowingly, I was driving with a broken axle. Unknowingly, right? Like all day Monday, driving to and from work, going to the gym, and coming back home. Tuesday morning, going to the gym, driving all the way to work, driving from my job to the mechanic shop. And then he's like, your axle, your right axle is completely broken. Your left axle was about to break. And he was like, I don't, he's like, you're very lucky. I was like, it's nothing but God's grace. And it's the fact that he covered me all the way to the shop and my car broke down, like completely stopped, you know. And I'm like, this is nothing but God's favor over my life because anything could have happened. It could have stopped on the freeway. It who knows, right? But God's favor was over my life, and I'm just like, God, I'm grateful. I'm thankful for what you're doing and for how you cover your child, you know. And not only for me, you showed me that you was there with me in that form of a butterfly. When I know that's how I know that you answer and you hear his prayers, because this is something that I asked you to do for me, you know, and you showed that. And it's not random that a butterfly just happens to fly by. I'm like, every time I see a butterfly, I was like, hey, God, you here. And I thank you, you know, and I'm just like, what's crazy, not what's crazy is that Sunday, my pastor was talking about the favor of God, you know, and then I'm like, look at this, look at the transition. Talk about favor, talk about what favor is. We talk about how God does it. And then come the next day, next 2 days, God's favor was all over my life. And I was like, I have to tell this testimony because of the fact that I could not even, I wouldn't even be here if something had happened. You know, driving down the highways and byways, you know, and I'm just grateful. And I'm just have to tell people that God is a very good God. God is a gracious God. He's a merciful God. He's a faithful God. And anytime God blesses you or covers you with his grace, his mercy, his favor, you have to tell somebody about it because you never know, your story could help somebody else. You never know that somebody could be like, okay, that's the God that I want to serve. That's the God that I want to tell people about. That's the God I want to believe in because if he can spare your life, he can spare mine. If he can deliver you from whatever it is that you're asking him to deliver you from, then I know that he can do the same for me. If he can heal my broken heart, I know that he can heal somebody else's broken heart. If he can change my mindset, I know that he can change somebody else's mindset. So you have to tell of the goodness of God and what it is that he's done for you. No matter how small or insignificant you may think it is, it's something great and grandiose to somebody else because you never know, that person could be so down in their luck or down in their mind that they don't know how they're going to make it out of something. But you tell them that, hey, God brought me out of this similar situation, and it can encourage them, it can spark something in them to be like, what is it that I can do to know this God that does this for you, and you can walk around with your head held high with joy in your heart? How can I get to this point? And you can tell them that this is what thus said the Lord for me to tell you, right? And it just brings joy to my heart to see people wanting to know God more, getting to know God more, telling people about who he is and what he's done for them. You know, so now is not the time to sit and be quiet of all the things that God has done for you. Now is the time to voice those and let those testimonies be made known. Be that example, be that shining light, be the salt of the earth that we are, you know, because so many people are looking at us and wanting to get to that point to where we're at. Yes, everybody's still on their journey. I'm still on my own journey. But each part of my journey, things are getting better, and I can tell you of what it is that he's doing for me. So I just wanted to just say God's favor is so great. It's beyond words to even describe because he does it every day. Every day when you wake up, that's favor because he doesn't have to allow you to wake up. Every day you make it to your job, or whatever your destination is, safely, that's favor. Every time, your kids are doing great, or your kids are turning around from whatever situation that they may be in, that's favor. Nothing that we do on our own. Everything happens because of God. And sometimes we may not understand why He allows us to go through certain things, but He's going to bring us out of it. There's a victorious end. All you have to do is believe in that and trust in that. And that comes from trusting in God and knowing who God is. So I just want to encourage you guys to really reevaluate life, reevaluate yourself, and think of all it is that God has done for you and all the times that He has covered you with His grace, His mercy, and His favor, and give Him glory and give Him thanks, and tell others of the goodness of Him, because you never know when your time on this earth is done, and you have to do it now. You have to get it right now before it's too late. You have to, give your life over to God. You have to help other people give their lives over to God. We have a great commission over our lives to tell the world of who God is and what He's done. So we have to do it. And so I just want to again just tell you that think of all the times that God has covered you, and thank Him of his for His grace, His mercy, and His favor. And I dare you to tell at least one person. You can tell as many people as you want, but at least tell one person of the goodness of God and how God has covered you and kept you, and how He can do the same for that person. And hopefully in return, that person can do it to another person. And before you know it, there's a whole chain of reaction, and we got the whole world talking about the goodness of God. So I encourage you to do that. I dare you to do that at least to one person. I'm doing it to the whole wide world right now. and I'm just grateful for it. So I just encourage you to just think about it and do the challenge that I just asked you to do. So I just want to tell you guys that to be blessed, that God is with you, God is covering you, God has something great for you. You just have to sit in His presence and pray to Him, call out to Him, and ask Him what it is that you need to do for Him, and just wait for Him to do it. And you can be that testimony that other people can see. So I just pray all these things over your life, and I pray that you guys have a blessed and prosperous day. And again, if no one has told you today, you are beautiful, you are handsome, you're worthy, you're deserving, you are of importance, you have a purpose, and God's light is shining on you. And this is just the start of your journey. It may have its ups and downs, but as long as God is with you and you know that, there's nothing that anyone can do that can take away what it is that God is going to do in your life, because His hand is covering you. And I pray all these things over your life. Guys, have a great day. I love you. And be blessed. Talk to you guys later.